Thank you. My name's Alex. I've been involved with the club since it started. And one of the things the club's kind of becoming famous for is variety, shall we say. And we've seen a little bit of it tonight, and we've got a little bit more coming. I think that the one thing that everybody in the room has, and everybody who runs their own business, is belief, passion, and the ability to take a risk and have a go. This gentleman alongside is in the process of taking a massive risk with his life and his living. And I think nowhere more than showbiz is the risk and the passion and the belief required more. He's a professional musician, is our Steve, and he's just taken a major fork in the road, and that's what prompted me to ask him if he'd like to come along this evening and have a chat. But also, perhaps let you see what he does for a living. So you're going to see a little bit of his product, for lack of a better expression. Now, can I tell you that I haven't primed Steve in any way whatsoever. I haven't said, this is the question I'm going to ask him, this is the question I'd really like you to answer. And I'm not going to contrive an interview that pulls out all the major things about running a business. Just listen to what's said, take from it what you like. If you don't get enough to do with your business, just enjoy the music. And just enjoy the chat. It is actually 7:20 at night after all. So what we're going to do is like this. I'm going to ask Steve to do a song in a minute. Say welcome to Steve Young. Round of applause, Steve.
Hello, thank you.
There you go.
It's very bright in here. This is unusual for me.
You're only playing Dark Cellars.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask Steve to sing a song so you get a feel about who he is. Then I'll do a very quick, punchy interview with him. Then I'm inviting you to ask as many questions as you like. Then I'll ask him to finish with the song. And I'm not going to kid you on. I am then going to say, come on, buy a CD. Only £5. But we're also going to tell you about, in fact, this is an EP, isn't it? It's a CD coming up. Steve Young. There you go.
Hi. Alone in this room, feeling far from comfort. The rain is softly soothing, but it's not quite what you wanted. It's funny how a feeling can follow you around. You try and leave it home, but it always tracks you down. There's a story I've been told, it's handed down from old. Don't ever let your life pass you by. It's a story I well know. My mother told me, son, don't ever let your life pass you by. See the palm trees swaying in the gray and dark day. I just can't help but think, how did you end up this way? Breezing on through life, waiting for a chance to caress a holy mantle we were told was always ours. There's a story I've been told, it's handed down from old. Don't ever let your life pass you by. It's a story I well know. My mother told me, son, don't ever let your life pass you by. There's a truth in life, and you can only blame yourself. That everything that led you here's a moment that you once owned. And there's a truth in life that no one tells you when you're young. If you think you're owed a favor, my friend, you're sadly wrong. There's a story I've been told, it's handed down from old. Don't ever let your life pass you by. It's a story I well know. My mother told me, son, don't ever let your life pass you by. Don't ever let your life pass you by.
Nice one.
Thank you.
that sounded very appropriate for the venue, actually. I'd never heard that song before, didn't it? Never let your life pass you by.
Well, that's why I sung it. I've got another one called Money Matters, but...
When did you write the song?
I wrote that song in September. I was in Spain playing a wedding, which is kind of what I do, or what I have been doing for a living for a long time. And it was terrible weather, it was hammering down with rain, and I was just there on my own in Spain feeling sorry for myself in the hotel room. And I just kind of thought, you know what, you're the only person that's put you here is you, and so either you can take the best out of this or you can sit here and feel sorry for yourself, which is not the idea. So I wrote myself a little song as a kind of a kick up the arse, basically, to say, you know, look.
Okay, good stuff. Give them a little bit of your history, because you've been in a professional position for years, you've played with the stars, you've been around the world, you've been on TV, you've done a lot.
Yeah, okay. Well, I grew up on the Isle of Wight, and I first moved to London in 1996 because I auditioned for a band who were signed to Warner Brothers, and so joined the band. We did kind of 2 years of crazy 90s stuff. And then I got into session guitar playing, and I ended up playing for a lot of TV acts. Basically, when people come over, especially from America, they had to do a lot of TV, like Top of the Pops, CD UK, that kind of stuff. And I ended up playing with people like Lionel Richie and Peter Andre and Gareth Gates, all the pop stars, basically pop stars that don't have, you know, bands that travel with them all the time. So it's kind of like it's called a pickup band, basically. And then from there, I became a full-time member of Darren Hayes' band, and some of you may remember an Australian band called Savage Garden. And Darren Hayes was the singer from Savage Garden. He has been playing on his own since they broke up, and I became his guitarist for about 5 years. We did 3 world tours, played some amazing venues, Royal Albert Hall, Wembley, places like that. And then I ended up writing with Darren and co-wrote songs on his latest album that he brought out in 2012.
And you walked away from all of that?
Yeah, kind of.
Tell me why, because it takes guts to do what you've done. Because you were making a good living, I assume.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have been very fortunate. I became self-employed in 2004, and I've made a decent living since. I mean, I do around 200, 250 gigs every year. Most of them are corporate, entertainment type gigs, private parties and weddings, stuff like that. But alongside the touring work, because although playing with people like Darren Hayes is amazing, they do a 3 or 4 week tour and then they want a year off. So, so I've got 11 months to fill in. So I've never let the whole pub thing go. I've got about 400 songs in my head that you can test me. So the reason why I walked away from that was because although I had co-written with Darren, and I've co-written with a lot of other artists as well, it just wasn't enough. And I knew that I was getting older, and I knew I had this passion inside of me, and I just knew that I wouldn't be happy unless I just tried it on my own just once. It was almost like a bucket list thing, and I made this EP a year and a half ago, and I just expected to make the EP, do a couple of gigs, and then that would be it. But it's just kept growing, and I've done some really cool gigs as the artist, which is still something that's very new to me. I played Country to Country in 2015, which is a big festival that happens at the O2. Yeah.
So how are you going about marketing yourself? Because you're recording a CD. We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
A full length CD. But how are you going about positioning yourself? You've been on the scene, kind of as a backing player, really, a session musician, whatever. Now you're coming forward.
Well, the first thing I did was obviously playing for people like Darren. I had an immediate access to his fan base, so I became very active on social media, Twitter and Facebook, and basically made sure that there's always content there. There's always something new coming up every couple of weeks, whether it's a live video from a rehearsal studio or a recording or a gig or something. I just basically hammer social media. I use Facebook advertisement, which is not particularly expensive, really. And it's quite effective for awareness. and it's through these people that I've connected with through social media. These are the people that are currently paying for my album through a crowdfunding thing that I've been doing.
Okay, talk about the CD then, because you obviously decided you wanted to record your own CD, but that costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
so you went down the crowdfunding route.
Yeah, I wanted to record an album. I wouldn't have used crowdfunding if I didn't have the access to the fans of people that I played with, because you know, brutally honest, I just wouldn't have raised the money. It would have been a complete embarrassment. So the way it works, I don't know if everyone's familiar with it, but the way it works, it's called Pledge Music. People can pay £8 to get a download of your album when it's finished. They can pay £1,000 and I'll fly to anywhere in the world and I'll play in your house. And I've had people from Japan buy private gigs. They've come to London, and I've hired a venue, and they've chosen the set list, and I've played to them. This good man here pledged to come and play tambourine on one of my songs on the album.
And I did.
He did a good job of it.
Thank you. It'll never be in the final edit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I released it last week, and you're most definitely in the final edit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You couldn't hear me. I'll check, yeah.
So it's all kind of exclusive stuff, basically. You can, at the moment, if you want anything, you can sign set lists, and there's like 30 different things in there that you can pledge for, and basically all of that gives you the money up front to pay for the album, and then all those people that have pledged, they get to hear it first. They're coming to London on May the 27th. They get to hear it for the first time. They get a little tour of the studio. They'll receive a signed copy before anything else, and then I'll release it on general release a month later.
One of the things I'm really interested in, and I don't know as much as I thought I did when I heard you earlier on tonight, is you are doing all sorts of things to keep yourself solvent.
Well, if you're good at what you do, there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting paid for it. And when I was younger, I was very blinkered by what I thought a musician was, and I refused to play other people's songs. I refused to become a school teacher. I refused to do all kinds of things, and very quickly just realised I couldn't afford to eat. So, actually, thankfully, having 400 of the world's most famous songs in your head all the time, when you actually do come to write a song, you have the sensibilities and the framework in place and the formula to hopefully do something that works. So I've learnt a lot. I've learnt a hell of a lot from just playing other people's songs every night, and so I'm glad I did it.
You also do teaching?
Yeah, I teach as well. Yeah.
Tell them how you teach, because I'm fascinated by that.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sure some of you have seen.
They might want to learn.
I'm sure some of you have seen the film School of Rock. That's basically what I do. I stand in a room with a bunch of kids and also adults. They normally drums, bass, vocals, guitar, and I teach them how to rock. And at the end of the term, we organise a gig. If they're adults, I'll organise a gig at the local pub, and for the children, they play in the hall next door to the school where I teach. And yeah, I basically teach people how to rock out with as little theory as possible.
And Skype?
I do Skype lessons. Yeah, I've got. I give Skype lessons to people in America, Canada, Italy, which is they pay for like 5 lessons up front, and it actually works quite well, believe it or not. They buy the book. They buy the book from Amazon. I have the book, so we're both looking for the same book, and yeah, I teach them on Skype.
I think it's really interesting that some musicians, are purists and wouldn't do what you're doing. They wouldn't turn up at the weddings. They wouldn't do the teaching stuff. They
I'm a sellout, is that what you're saying?
No, you're not selling out. But I think you've got a balanced view about you have to make a living.
Well, yeah, you do have to make a living, and what I had to keep reminding myself is when I do speak to people, they're like, "You're living the dream," and I'm like, I have to remind myself of that, because I've been doing this a long time, and I am living the dream, because I don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up when I want, and I go to work in the evening, so I do work unsociable hours, but then so do a lot of people, and I can't imagine doing anything that would pay me as much as I get paid, doing the corporate stuff. And there's all the marketing and all that, everything that I do applies to that as well. I have a completely, I've made my own, I learned how to use WordPress and made my own website. I learned how to use Final Cut Pro and made my own videos. I learned how to use Logic and made my own demos, and I use that for getting the wedding gigs as well, you know. So I had to learn a lot of things in the last few years, but it's all been good.
What keeps you going, Steve? Because you're in a cutthroat industry.
What keeps me going? Every now and again, something will happen that will recharge my batteries, basically, and it's normally a gig or even just someone like yourself. Alex heard one of my songs on a CD. He phoned me up out the blue and said, "Will you come and speak and sing on my radio show?" And for someone like me, that's just some validation that what I'm doing is the right thing for me, and it recharges my batteries. And my batteries do get low, and some mornings I wake up and I just think I'm an absolute fool. No, what on earth am I doing? But I can't do anything else. And sorry, I've forgotten your name. Derek. As Derek said, don't stare at an obstacle, jump over it. And if my obstacle is to sit there going, what am I doing? I have to move away from that, and I have to go, okay, this is what I'm doing. So how can I do it in the best way I can? And so I try and pride myself on being the most professional and entertaining and best wedding singer, corporate entertainer that you can get. But also, for my own heart and soul, the album, my own songwriting, that's something to make sure that my head is in a good place as well.
You're going to release a CD into the world at some point in the next few months.
I am.
Yeah. How do you feel about suddenly you're going to be criticised, critiqued? People are going to, you hate it.
It's really hard because I mean, my lyrics are about me, they're my life. It's kind of weird, really. It's like walking. If you took away the guitar and the microphone, it's like me saying, "Hey, I'm going to tell you a story about this girlfriend I had." You know, it's like no one wants to know. And suddenly you're not only are you standing there and telling complete strangers about something that happened in your life, they're then going to turn around and tell you what they think of the way you told it. And it's like, geez, it's like, come on guys, you know, well, we don't really think you should have used that drum sound when you were talking about your wife leaving you. And it's like, okay, I'll make sure I use a different drum kit next time. You know? I mean, obviously that's a very crude, exaggerated example. But,
okay.
Yeah, it's tough. I can't, I try not to, I dread it, and it's going to happen, and, you know.
And you're going to keep on going.
I can't please everybody.
Absolutely, correct. Questions?
Steve, can I ask you how old are you?
Oh, why did you ask that?
I'm just curious, that's all.
I turned 44 yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday. That's good.
Thank you. And yesterday was one of those mornings when I woke up and thought, what the hell am I doing? Another year,
Join the club, we do it every birthday.
You know.
Paul.
I'm presuming you could play a lot of different genres, you'd be quite adaptable, so why have you chosen the genre that you have to do? It's sort of country, bit crossover.
Because it's what came natural to me, and I spent many years co-writing pop songs with people, and I don't feel it. I mean, even though I wrote them, I don't feel it. And when I grew up with a lot of country music playing around me. I definitely don't consider myself a country music artist because that would be just not true. But I'm definitely heavily influenced by that style of music, and it's just what comes out, and I can't help it.
It's actually a style that's taking off at the moment.
Yeah, I know. It's like suddenly everybody's traded their bomber jackets and trench coats for 10-gallon hats, but you know.
Start wearing them.
That's the way, you know. The good thing about country music is 44 is considered quite young. So that works.
That was really the question was really about is it are you feeling a market, you know, pertaining to this group?
Yeah.
Have you seen a market niche or?
It's kind of weird because.
Or is it actually just do your own thing and then find the market?
I think, you know how if you think about something, it becomes the future whether you want it to or not. And when I was in my 20s, because I was into kind of heavy metal and stuff, when I was in my 20s, I knew I was never going to make a pop record ever. And I always used to tell myself, I'm going to make my first album when I'm 50. And so I think for the last 20 years in my head, I've always been waiting to make that first album. I've actually made it 6 years earlier than I wanted to. So I think that I always knew that I was going to write music and play music to that age group, and they're the ones with the money. You know, it's great getting 60 billion views on YouTube. They only pay about a penny. You know, Spotify pays £500 for every 100,000 plays, and it's great to have all the school kids being into your music, but they don't have any money. You know, and everybody I've raised over £5,000 so far on my pledge campaign, and everybody that's pledged has been, you know, my age or around my age, and so. You know, yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question? Yeah. This is kind of weird.
Steve, sorry. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You do an awful lot of stuff yourself, so you learn how.
I do everything myself.
Exactly. There's a lot of broken hearts in terms of video people, marketing people, and stuff. They can't sell you anything now because you've learned it yourself. But do you see a need to, or could you, if you, in an ideal world, would you have a team of people?
Oh
around
yeah,
you?
absolutely.
What would you like to not have to do?
Change guitar strings. I hate it. The thing is, no, I don't know. It's difficult because I actually enjoy it. I love. I get frustrated learning how to use WordPress. I got frustrated learning how to use Final Cut, but now I know how to do it. I love it. But the hours just disappear. I'm like, I say to my girlfriend, okay, I just got to quickly stick this video on YouTube, and 6 hours have gone by.
Yeah.
And you know, she's gone out and stopped speaking to me 5 hours ago. And it's just
there's another song there though, isn't there?
so I would love a team to, you know, keep the website. And my website's, you know, pretty basic. I'd love a team to make a great website. I do hire a PR agent who does a lot of Twitter and social media stuff for me, just because I think it looks, although I have my branding, I think it looks better if someone else is also doing it too. So you're not the only person, because anyone can call themselves an artist and record a CD. What you need is other people. People in the industry, they don't look at how many Twitter followers you've got, they look at how many people retweet your tweets.
Yeah.
And if you've got 2,000 fans and 10 people retweet you, that's good. You know, that's the percentage you're talking about. If you advertise to 50,000 people on Facebook and 100 of them like your page, that's good. You know. So.
That's quite interesting because there's the lady from what was her name? She wrote a book called Lean In. She talks about outsourcing bits that don't add value to what you want to do.
Right.
So it's interesting. Maybe there's people in this room who will be considerate of outsourcing some bits to help.
Yeah, maybe. I'm a bit of a control freak, but we can always have a chat.
Well, I was going to ask, like, because you've got like this real diverse, kind of lots of different revenue streams and avenues.
Yeah.
Do you do like sync stuff and soundtrack
Yeah,
stuff? Or?
yeah, I do that as well. I've had 2 songs played on Home and Away. What else?
How does that compare to like everything else?
It's maybe I get 200 or 300 quid every couple of months. Yeah. You know, it's not enough to live on. But that is where the money is, and that's where I'm headed. I don't want to be at 50, 60 years old. I don't want to be traipsing around the world trying to play gigs. The reason why I'm doing this album is because I believe in myself as a songwriter. No one's going to sing my songs apart from me at this stage in my career. So if I put myself out there as an artist and put myself out there as a songwriter, hopefully at some point, not hopefully because I'm just going to make it happen, I'll eventually connect up with a publishing company who will then send my songs out to other people, because that's where the money is. The most money I've ever made in my own music is through publishing. To give you an example, I played Country to Country last year, and because the O2 pay an enormous music license fee, I sung 6 songs and was given £200 for each song I sung. So I was on stage for half an hour and I earned 1,600 quid. And that was because I've set up all my registrations, I register my set list. A lot of people don't even bother doing that, you see. They don't even realise that every time they sing their own songs, someone has paid for you to be there to do that. It's called a license. So every time I sing my own songs, I want my money from the license payer.
You're not going to send us the bill now, are you?
No, because there probably isn't a public licensing, so I'll just keep this one under the radar.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, I think we probably need to move on and respect your time. In all seriousness, I mean, he wouldn't be an entrepreneur, but he's too modest to hold this up for himself.
I need this guy everywhere.
Definitely everywhere. For a simple £5, there are stunning songs on this. So 5 beautiful songs, including the one that I first heard that made me phone you, which is called Integrity. Wonderful, wonderful song. So if you want to give Steve £5 for this before you leave, feel free. And he'll sign it and date it, of course, as well.
Cheaper than the crowdfunding.
Do you want me to play Integrity, or do you want me to do the single that you're playing tambourine on?
It's entirely up to you. You play anything you like. You just let them know what you're playing. Steve Young, there you go. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to keep it current. I released this song a week ago. Alex is actually playing tambourine on it. Not tonight, but you can listen to it for free on SoundCloud. Songs at this point, songs are business cards, so you can listen to the song on SoundCloud, and that's the way it kind of works. So it's called Back to Mine. Tears fall so slowly down your beautiful face, and I'm trying to reach you, 'cause we feel so damn low. We just made this pain go away, and I'm feeling this pain when you're sleeping there, with your back to mine, with your back to mine. In my dream we made up, instead I woke up with your back to mine, with your back to mine. Oh, oh no. Time felt so holy, with your lips on mine. I wish we could be there again. Defiantly we stand, but life is too short to keep this anger burning. And I feel this pain when you're sleeping there, with your back to mine, with your back to mine. In my dream we made up, instead I woke up with your back to mine, with your back to mine. Oh, oh no. your back to mine, with your back to mine. In my dream we made up, instead I woke up with your back to mine, with your back to mine. Oh. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Steve. That was brilliant.